live from the Hoboken Historical Museum in the sleepy riverside town of Hoboken. It's Hoboken Talks, which is a show that is online that you're watching right now. And look at this Brady Bunch-esque array of characters from around this mile square city.
I like the Beer Platters window.
Sure. We have entrepreneurs, artists, activists, musicians. Eric Kammer. And this week, we have a very special guest. You might be asking yourself, who's Tim FOLJAHN? You're going to find out everything about this guy, but, he's played with Cat Power. He's played with Thurston Moore. He hung out with Townes Van Zandt. That's just scratching the surface. Hi.
Here we are.
My name's Jack, and I'm your host for this week's edition of Hoboken Talks, a special Friday night edition. These are normally on the second and last Thursdays of the month, but we're shaking it up.
Yeah, it's party night.
It is a party night, and this is going to be a party episode, especially with this kid.
Now that this has started, it's quite a bit sillier than I imagined it would be. It feels silly. That's good. I like it. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that pleases me.
All right. If you're pleased, then I'm pleased. If you're watching us live, and I kind of doubt it, but if you are on Facebook or YouTube or just some little thing you've rigged up at home, you can type in you have a little question for Tim or a comment. He will respond.
Maybe.
If it gets through the gatekeeper, which is our director, Rand Hoppy. Rand, are you there?
What? Oh. Hi, Jack.
Rand is here.
Yep, we're all here.
Tim, thank you so much.
Thanks for asking me.
Well, I've wanted to interview you for quite a while, so I'm glad it's finally come together. And people will be watching this later. Mm-hmm. And if you miss, and maybe you're watching live, and then you got to go pick up the kids or something, or you're taking a dance class, whatever it might be, you can go to YouTube later, anytime, and type in Tim FOLJAHN, Hoboken Museum, and you can watch it later. So that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
And let's take it back. You grew up in Michigan?
I grew up in Michigan. I did. Midland.
Midland, Michigan. Where is Midland for people who don't have a great sense of Michigan geography?
Well, if you're from Michigan, it's right here.
On the mitten.
The Michigan speak. So it's right
Yeah.
there. So there's like Saginaw, Bay City, and Midland, which are known locally as the Tri-Cities.
I did not know that. And I'm going to guess music was an early interest. Or it could be an incorrect guess.
It is. I was always interested, but it took me a long time to figure things out. Like, my mother was really into music. She was a singer.
Okay.
And I just found out fairly recently, shortly before she died, that because she'd always talked about getting this. She was an interesting person, to say the least. But she had always talked about getting this free ride to college and her turning it down because of things with her parents and stuff like that. I only recently found out that was a free ride to Juilliard.
That's a.
And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. So, but so she was interested in music, and so there was music in the house.
Yeah.
And
we have a comment from it was kind of a ringer because Vera works for the museum in the communications area. But shout out to the great state of Michigan.
Vera is also from Michigan.
Yeah, was recently there.
It's a funny thing with people from Michigan, is that, and this would happen in the store when I worked in the store here, and it happens occasionally where I meet somebody and there's something off about them. They seem okay, but there's something I'm just like,
Little,
not too sure.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, I kind of don't like them. And then I find out that they're from Michigan, and then it's fine once I figure it out, because there's something about my own kind that I'm kind of like,
All right, but learning that they are from Michigan
solves the problem immediately.
You're no longer put off.
Then I think they're kind of great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in kind of a spider sense.
Yes, it's some weird thing. Well, I think maybe we all just do a thing. I don't know.
But your mom, Juilliard, didn't happen.
Didn't happen. She did other things. She's like, I don't know how much of this to tell. But so we were kind of poor, I guess, when I was young. But I didn't know the difference.
Sure.
And but remarkable fun facts. Like, if I was president, this would be so. The first place I lived when I came home from the hospital didn't have indoor. Well, it did have a pump in the sink, but it had an outhouse. So that's how old I am, and how country we were, I guess.
Yeah.
But eventually, she got this job at Dow Chemical as a secretary, and we moved to Midland, which was actually a nice town that I, for whatever reason, couldn't wait to get out of. But it was a very nice town, and it was the home of Dow Chemical.
Right.
So that was its defining thing. So there was a lot of modern architecture, and somebody's driving a Citroen, and they're weirdos.
Yeah.
Like engineering weirdos and scientific weirdos. But there's a good education and everything like that. But then she partly through affirmative action, she really capitalized on that, and she ended up saving the company $1 bazillion and had a office with the corner office and stuff by the time she retired. So she was quite a self-made kind of person.
And never had to pump water again.
No, never did.
That's good.
Yeah.
And what are just some musical, like what songs or artists kind of stick in your mind from those
early years?
Early years.
The Archies. The Archies record was a really big record for me. And I remember being really obsessed with just the song Hey Jude.
Which was not by the Archies.
No.
Okay.
No, just a bit, but I remember there were different things going on.
Right,
like,
okay.
But it took me, I realized that it took me a long time to figure out that, like, how it worked, that people, because I could go see live music, but somehow I didn't imagine those people getting together and making this recording that I'm listening to. Somehow, I don't know what I imagined, but it wasn't that. So when I started to figure it was many years before I actually knew anything about that, but it was very interesting. And I started just listening to weirder and weirder music. A friend of mine had a great basement, and he had an older brother.
Can I stop you there? Because, first of all, I want to wish a good Shabbos to Eric Kammer, who's saying hi, and he loves the background. Tim, why did you select this particular background?
Well, I like
for
that
our
we could
talk?
we could sit in the future, and someday we could actually sit there.
I'd like
We
to
could-
sit
we
there
could-
with
we-
you.
Yeah, and we could have a conversation, not this one, but a different one, and stuff. If those look like benches,
Yeah.
and there's no sitting sign there. So but I don't know. I'm in the reason I chose this was because in a time, and I think this is no matter where you fall on the spectrum of whatever. It often seems like, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. And it's not these things like the river thing and this thing these things that I can look forward to, these public spaces where everybody can sit and have a nice time, and
Yeah.
that we can actually be back there instead of it all being fenced off. I really enjoy looking forward to this stuff and the river stuff. So it's kind of corny, but that's the way I am.
No, that's a good answer, and thank you. Now, Eric's a very special member of the Hoboken Talks family, the most loyal viewer.
Oh, really?
Grew up here in town,
Mm-hmm.
and then was interviewed on Hoboken Talks, and then was the host of
Wow.
an episode. So he's a triple threat,
Yeah.
as they
It
say.
keeps going.
Appreciate having him. Let's look at a few photos from your youth.
My youth. And, there you go.
Now there's that's great. That's we would think maybe you had grown up farther west,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that was a good. That's a good look.
Yeah. Probably needed glasses, but didn't know it yet.
Well, let's get him some glasses. Boom.
1969. This is what 1969 really looked like.
Okay.
It wasn't. This was 1969 Trailer Park. The real.
And I-
Hendrix was not my 1969. This was
Okay,
my 1969.
But I recognize you in that photo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not in the baby one, but in this one, I'm like, there's Tim.
I've sent you so many photos, but mostly it's because I kind of just scrambled for photos. for
Okay.
you, and I just kept on coming with, like, I can't believe this. I was this person.
Well, this next one is, I believe, a high school photo.
Oh, this is the funniest one. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Is
I
this
don't know.
now? Is this your senior photo, or
It suggests that it is, but because of the way that there's the disembodied head and everything.
well,
but
that was a thing.
Yeah,
That was a thing.
But I don't know what's going. Something's gone wrong here, and obviously I've been exposed to marijuana, but not much else. Maybe, like it's like really like what is this and the shirt's kind of undone.
All right. So
and-
approximately what year is
This
this?
has got to be like 77, 78. I don't know if that's a reaction to Mork and Mindy. The
Right.
suspenders. I don't know.
See
But-
I don't want to jump to the next photo yet.
Right, but there's a-
those two photos seem as if they're from a little maybe earlier, but they're not. They're not. It's kind of
they're
interesting.
close. They're close in the not this one, but this but this one and the next one are actually closer than you would think they are.
To me, you look a little like a young actor, Matthew Modine here. A little bit.
That's
All right, so now we have a prom photo.
Yeah. And that a lot was happening then. The best story I have about this picture is that we walked in and this girl was sitting in her prom dress that was normal, and she's sitting at a table, and she looked up at us and she said, "You're ruining it for everyone."
Because again, like, All right, this is the last I'll say of it, but if you told me this was 1969, I'd believe
Right,
you,
no.
but you're not even this is not a disco look or
Yes.
or what is
What is this? This is
Because
like,
when I was looking at the little thumbnail version, I didn't really realize that these are like plastic.
it's kind of a tarp thing. I think this is some product of looking at Interview magazine. I think has something to do with this, but
It might be a Dow chemical.
could be. But I was definitely someone at that age that was telling people like, "Oh, I was born 10 years late, man."
Yeah.
So there's that, and
And is that a permanent? What's happening?
That is a perm, yeah.
Okay.
It's a full perm. And the thing on, and I have a question about this young lady here, but the thing on her face is a moon in purple glitter. But I have a question. So
Yeah.
and I don't know why I would have this piece of information or if it's true, but I need to ask you: did you work at Scholastic?
Yeah, for a long time.
And were you there in like the early 90s, like 91-ish?
92, yeah.
Did you know Gwen Shook?
Sure.
That's Gwen Shook.
What?
And I think it's, I worked there for a minute. And I remember, because when I first was exposed to you
Yeah.
at, I believe, Northern Soul, I think you were introducing like Brian's band or something. And it was like that voice. And I think I used to hear your voice from your cubicle or something. Because I
Maybe.
recognized the voice.
Yeah.
And it's a very distinctive voice. I'm thinking like somebody's speaking to me from 1963.
We need. Now, are you in touch with Gwen Shook?
I haven't been for a long time, but
We must reach out to Gwen
maybe we
Shook.
should.
The last.
She lived in Jersey City for a while.
The only thing I remember, because she left Scholastic and she started, it was like she would organize your apartment.
Yes, which of course was so her.
And that
Yeah.
became her business, I
Yeah.
think. And that's the last, because we didn't really have, the interweb or the social media. I would like Gwen Shook to watch this episode and reappear.
Yeah. Who knows what they're doing? Because they were sort of. I remember. Well,
Now,
that would be a real sidetrack. To
We
talk
have
about
so much to cover, but and I don't. But
it'd be great if this is all we talked about.
Were you dating or was it just?
Oh yeah, no. This was a very serious. My first very serious.
Yeah.
Girlfriend. Yeah.
Tremendous.
And she was, I ended up following her to, even though we'd broken up, I followed her to Kalamazoo anyway, and that was the beginning of the thing. And she knew a lot of the same people I knew in Kalamazoo, pretty much all of them.
I've been to Kalamazoo.
Yeah, what'd you
Yeah.
think?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, Kalamazoo and Hoboken, both guitar towns.
Yeah, right. The factory.
And which would also be a Steve Earle album title, and he was very close with towns. It all ties together,
It's all
Tim.
coming together.
Should we go? Let's go to the next photo.
Okay.
All right.
So Kalamazoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kazoo, as maybe
Yeah.
some have called it.
Yeah, not people from there.
Okay. All right. Maybe they don't. Maybe no one.
Maybe
calls
they
it
do.
that.
Maybe they do. Because there was a bar called the Zoo, and there was things there. But this is you wouldn't know it to look at it, but this is the band Spastic Rhythm Tarts, first single. And you can kind of tell what the music was like by the artwork. But I don't know why the name was changed. So, I believe that when this single came out, we were still doing shows under the name Spastic Rhythm Tarts, but which we'll hear about many of these brilliant business moves. For some reason, the single was called Strange Fruit, and the band was changed its name. Sort of, I don't know. Anyway, but
All right. Well, our next photo shows the band
Shows the
Spastic
band.
Rhythm Tarts. So
Yes.
let's take a look at that.
and we look much. I believe this is in Bunches in East Lansing, and we look actually kind of surprisingly wholesome, which we thought we were pretty gnarly.
The perm is gone.
The perm is gone, and this is a brief period of I don't know, normalcy. I don't know what's going on there. I think Steve was in the band by now. That's Steve Shelley. And
for people who don't know, Steve Shelley.
Steve Shelley is Hoboken resident for many years, and the drummer of Sonic Youth after Bob Bird.
Right.
Because Bob's been on here. So
Do you think Steve Shelley would appear on this?
I think he probably should, because he has. I mean, I don't know. It would have to be like a 3-parter or something. He has so many stories.
Okay.
So many stories. But I don't know. He's hard to say.
On Monday night I'll be seeing him play in Bethel Woods.
Cool.
Yeah, he's sort of opening for Neil Young. Sort of.
Yeah. Cool. That's very cool.
But this is not the Steve Shelley
No.
show. But Steve Shelley. Oh, this is crazy. But now, does Steve Shelley know Gwen Shook?
Oh, absolutely. Steve Shelley was Gwen's little buddy in the drum line in high school.
Okay.
I didn't know Steve in high school, but he knew Gwen, and they lived near each other.
Okay. And you just met Steve through
After high school, he had some people that lived further in the woods behind him called the Fry Brothers, and they were what you'd expect, and they were very great. But I met him at a party of theirs, and we were both trying to get like Talking Heads records on and stuff like that, because we were both kind of new wave, and it was kind of a hippie scene. So,
Right.
But he had been in a band with a guy that I'd been in a band with earlier. I'd been in a high school band with this guy John, and Steve was in a band with John in the early 80s and Scott Fagerston called the No Zones, and they would go to, and they played some of the same covers that I'd played in the band in the old days, but they did some new wave punk rock stuff.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay.
Now, both you.
Yeah, both me. This is before and after going to Norfolk. I left Kalamazoo for almost a little over a year, and I went out there to be in a band with the drummer that I'd met in Kalamazoo. And then after being there for a while, the bass player who had also come out from Kalamazoo, and then the two guys in Norfolk were brothers. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining
Not the
this.
Fry brother.
Not the Fry brothers. And but the two brothers talked to me about kicking out the bass player, but somehow keeping his PA, because he had a PA, and they talked to him about kicking me out and keeping my guitar, because I had a fairly expensive guitar at the time, and when we figured that out, we were out of there. So I became disillusioned, but I think it's this hardened thing. And then I got a job modeling at the Old Dominion University art department. So, and I did that, and I actually made quite a bit of money. And there were nights of like not having anywhere to go and just watching the late show of Clockwork Orange, and I met a girl there, and all these things happened in a year. Like, things happened so fast then. And then it turned out that was Terry Gillis, who turned out to be a friend of Sean's much later. So Ludlow Street, I'm hanging out with Sean. We go in this shop, and this woman's voice is so familiar, and I can't figure it out. And I'm looking at some products that some friends of mine made and stuff like that. And then I go up to her, and I remember that this is Terry and that we used to go out. And then I have to explain it to her, because we really can't remember. And then I'm like, no, we were, and then she goes, oh, Tim,
You were out of context.
It's a small world.
And you changed your hair.
Yeah,
in
right.
fairness
That's
to
right.
Terry.
That's right. But it's a very small world, and but I look like I've been to jail or something. The way I'm coming back here, I'm all like kind of, I'm living on the road, taking a bus. There was a photo booth in the Pittsburgh bus where I transferred, so I took one going and one coming back.
Okay.
I don't know what this. I think this is funny. I don't know.
I like the juxtaposition. Let's keep going.
And this is what I ended up looking like. This is another spastic rhythm tarts.
Well, where?
Strange fruit. This is. It's a good question. It may be a VFW. I'm trying to remember
Or
where
when.
this is. This is Kalamazoo, and I'm pretty sure it's Kalamazoo. Could be East Lansing.
But did you go back?
Oh yeah, I went back to Kalamazoo, and then there was
Teased
more.
your hair again. Dyed it.
Yeah, and then it got after this. It got would be called. I think I probably had the nerve to refer to them as dreads, but it was really just mats. Like when your cat gets matted hair and you have to cut them out. That's what it was like. And then it turned into a helmet of mats, and then you had to cut.
But
it
I guess
off.
sort of a new wave.
Total new wave.
Yeah,
And apparently
okay.
I went. The interesting thing to me about this picture is that I know that at this time you couldn't. It wasn't okay to dress up for a show. Like if you went to the show and you had on a different outfit kind of than what you were walking around with all day, people would call you a poser. So apparently I was walking around like this.
Okay, gotcha. I got you. All right, there's one more photo, and then we'll go to a
Yeah, I think, and then we're done with the fashion section.
yeah.
This is really jumping ahead, but this is
Jumping ahead, and yet the hair is sort of a
similar,
continuum.
Yeah. Well, and because things were happening very fast, so we're only now 1980, 4 or something. This is when Ann and I, who were married secretly by this point, and
Wait a minute. Let's go to the two shot. All right.
All right.
We don't throw in little secret marriages here on Hoboken Talks, maybe.
So I'd met. She was a roommate of a friend of mine that I used to go out with in Kalamazoo, and we would talk on the phone sometimes. And then I met her in Chicago. She had come up to Midland a couple times because there was a
Okay.
time when I was living in Midland and going down to practice, and they were coming up to practice. I had kind of a loft in Midland, and Steve had gotten me a job at the Holiday Inn where I cooked, and and we shared this loft and my old art teacher was across the hall, and he would come over and complain that his things were falling off the walls. But she came up once with them all to Midland, and we went and stole some bowling balls and got stopped by the police. And but then in Chicago once, we were all doing all kinds of stuff, and she and I sort of fell in love, and then hitchhiked up to Midland to get my birth certificate, and then we got married at the courthouse, and then she went back to Boston because school was out, and and then we moved in together in Chicago in the fall. But nobody
Great.
knew. Her parents didn't know. My mother knew, and yeah, and one friend knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too much
Casadante's
Whoa.
Kitchen.
Holy moly!
Hey, Tim. Michael Casadante listening in. Love you, man.
I was looking at.
Did you
pictures. There was a period when Ann and I lived in Midland. Again, we got a house, and it was cheap, and I went to community college, and so did she. And in that time, we befriended Michael, and we felt like the really old people because Mike was, I don't know, maybe 3 years younger than me or something.
yeah,
But
right,
in
right,
that
no, yeah,
stage,
sure.
it's like, oh yeah, well, young man, and we did stupid things like brand each other, and but he's a great guy, and I was looking at pictures.
Is there a restaurant?
I think there probably is. I think that's what's going on here. I think he's probably a chef or something.
I'd like to go to this restaurant.
Yeah.
But,
So if you want to plug your restaurant, Michael, you can do that. That would be great.
All right, so you and married and in love in Chicago, Illinois.
And then we had this great little apartment that was over a beatnik coffee shop and it was just on the other side of the L tracks from where I worked cooking again at this Heartland restaurant that was super holistic. And but the train would come by and we actually saw people we knew on the train because we looked right onto the train and the sparks would light up our apartment and stuff. It was very romantico.
I just can't, like, if things just went just slightly differently, you could be cooking in Casadante's kitchen right now.
That's right. I was trained.
Yeah.
I was trained. I was the night chef at the Heartland Cafe for a minute. And then we moved to I can't remember why. Usually it was some honestly drug related incident and we've had it with this place and we'd move away. Pack up. We had a checker cab that was for a car, packed that thing up with everything we could
as
have.
one does.
Yeah, and moved out to Massachusetts.
Okay.
Now I'm not going to be able to remember the town where the little college is.
New Haven.
No,
Marlboro.
that's not going to.
That's just keep naming Massachusetts
near Amherst,
towns.
Near Amherst, Women's College. New
Smith.
Hampton. Whoa, I can't believe it. This is how my brain works now. Anyway, a little town there with some friends, but then they got pregnant, and so then we had to go, and that's when we ended up in Midland, and then we moved to Albuquerque, and that's where that picture is.
The photo's taken in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, and that's when we first showed up there, and then we were there for a while, and she really wanted to go to the desert. She went to college right away, and she was really into dead things. And, so we'd find dead things and go out in the desert and shoot guns and find skulls and stuff like that and bring them home. And,
and then you go to Hoboken?
Then we we got into some, I actually graduated from art school there, which is kind of remarkable.
At University of New Mexico.
Yeah, and they had a really happening art department at the time, and then we had a wedding, which Steve came out for. We had a wedding in Colorado at her parents' house, but this was as far as they were
your
concerned,
own wedding again, a non-secret wedding.
Non-secret wedding.
Okay.
For which we got a car, which I think had a lot to do with it, and everybody was kind of depressed that we had double dipped. Anyway, but we sort of ran out of road in Albuquerque, and to get our act together and sort of, sober up, so to speak, we moved to New Orleans, which is, another brilliant piece of work. And then that lasted for about a year, and Steve had visited us, and we had, like in Albuquerque, we had got the student union to put on a Sonic Youth show. There were a few punk rock shows that came through. And but that got
who was the drummer at that time?
Sonic Youth?
Yeah.
It was Steve. Yeah.
Oh, it was already Steve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's early. Yeah. So and they came out, but then that show got canceled because somebody broke something and the cops all came. But
Northampton?
Northampton, thank you. God. See, why couldn't
I
I
had
do
to
that?
look it up because I went to a New England Pop Fest in my only time in Northampton.
Yeah, Northampton. And it was really cute.
Yeah.
Really cute place to live. Yeah. Thank you. God, this is not easy getting old. But then we moved to New Orleans, and then at some point, Steve said, I could get you an apartment in Hoboken. And he actually found an apartment.
He had come out here. Why? For Sonic Youth.
He had. Oh, this is a whole story.
We'll save his story for when
he's
he's here and how he joined Sonic Youth.
Yeah, because he had a band that was fairly popular, that then went on the rock against. I'll tell you, they were called the Crucifix, and they were an amazing band. And they went on the Rock Against Reagan tour and stuff like that, and they met Sonic Youth, and then he came to house sit for Kim and Thurston while they were on tour, and then they decided to use him as a drummer, and then he got a place out here. He had a place in the city for a while, and then
change was made uptown, and the big man joined the band.
That's right. That's right. And then it's history.
So, so Steve says, "Hey,
look,
come east,
it's easy living,
or south, or wherever you were."
Yeah, come here.
I can't keep track of it.
And he got me this great apartment on 8th and Adams, and we moved in there. Anne left not that long after. That was pretty much it, and it was a little rough and ready.
Where is Anne right now?
It's a good question. I need to write to her. The last I knew, she was living in the Southwest in the middle of the desert.
Okay.
In outside of Pima, and.
I'm not a therapist, but I think she's more drawn to that sort of life than the hustle bustle here.
Oh yeah, no, she's really into space, and but she's great.
And dead things.
She's great. And dead things, not so much of the dead things anymore. I think the funny thing about that is I was explaining what we were up to, and I was painting and stuff like that in New Mexico to Julie K. Fritz once upon a time, later in the show. And she said, "Oh, you were those broken glass and barbed wire people," and I thought, like, "Oh my God, she's absolutely right."
Yeah.
and that's the thing about my history is that I've been a series of sort of cliches. I didn't know it at the time. I thought I was, on the edge.
Yeah,
but there's just these things where you're like, "Yeah, that really sums it up pretty well."
Broken glass
I like that.
and barbed wire people. Oh, I gotta check the time because we gotta speed this up. We gotta speed it up because we have so much more.
Okay. All right.
You come to Hoboken and you form the $2 guitar.
Well, first what happens is I go to the $2 guitar is sort of forming. There's a single, and that Steve puts out, and it's sort of like a really simple thing, and then. The band
and did he have the label name Smells Like?
Smells Like was already started. And it was one of the first few things. I don't know if it was 3 or 4, maybe the third or fourth thing that he put out. And
well, about what year is that?
92?
92.
Maybe?
Okay.
These are very good questions, but I don't know the answer.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
But
that's fine.
this is us at CB. So that's Dave Motamed. He was in Cell, and he was in Damen. And both of these are Hoboken-related bands. Cell in the 90s, Das Damen in the 80s. And they're back.
Yes.
But the first show I played at CB's, or the first show I played here was a Jad Fair and Friends thing with Shonen Knife. And so it was me, Jad, it was Steve Shelley, it was Thurston Moore, it was Zorn, and Don Fleming. And so this started a thing of my career where often I was in this situation where everybody's going, "Oh, wow, who's that guy?"
Yeah.
And that guy was me. So I'd often be up there with people that, people knew who they were, But and then I went on tour with Half Jap. So that was all going on early 90s. So I did 2, European tours in a row and 2, American tours, and it was just a total. I'd never been out of the country, and we show up in Germany, and we did 30 shows in 30 days in Germany with some 8-hour drives, which is not easy to do in Germany. It looked like string art, but I learned a lot, and it was traveling in Europe, and it was mind blowing.
All right, let's sort of go quickly through the music photos, but just sort of say what's happening.
This is Half Jap in Germany, right when I first got there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and a lot of squats and stuff. This is a version of $2 Guitar. That's Keith Nealy, who was playing drums for this little thing. We went over for a lo-fi festival, and Steve couldn't go. And Keith Nealy his father was the drummer for Insect Trust.
Wow.
So that's some heavy lineage there. But we had a great time. It was really fun and short and really good. So that was a version that was very short-lived, but it was very fun. And this is with Janet Wygal. Also,
Sure.
we probably should have her on the show because
I would love to sit next to Janet Weigel for an hour.
Yes, exactly. She knows everything, and she knows where the bodies are buried.
So still $2.
Still $2
Just
guitar.
mutating versions of it, but all Hoboken.
All Hoboken. Yep. And then the next one is with Tim. This is at South by Southwest. So for a tour of the United States and one of Europe, Tim came, and Tim is in the band Fuck. Another great business move. So you couldn't even put the name on the marquee sometimes.
Right.
But they were just such a great band, and $2 Guitar with the old lineup had toured with them, did a whole U.S. tour with them, and it was so great to see them every night and see their amazing merch machine and blah blah blah, all that stuff. So much to talk about.
All right, we keep.
This is Cat Power. And
Now, how do you cross paths with
the Raincoats. Steve was playing with the Raincoats.
Yeah.
And we went to a show.
The reunited Raincoats at that point, or?
Well, I don't think they'd ever technically broken up, but kind of. Yeah, no, this was them coming back.
But
this
sort of,
but
Kurt mentioning how much he loved them kind of got them reissued, I think.
Yeah, Steve had put out a record of theirs. And I'm not sure what the series of events are, but I believe that this show, and I could be conflating things here, but I believe this show, speaking of which, I think this was the night that everybody found out Kurt died.
Interesting.
But Sean, maybe I'm conflating different things. Anyway, but that's the way I remember it. This is that's the disclaimer. These are the way I remember things. It may not be how they happened. But Sean had opened, and I thought she was just the greatest thing since sliced bread. And so I, followed her around and bugged her, and probably was half hitting on her or something. And
she looks fantastic. This is a wonderful photo.
She was so great and so obviously great. And then got her to come out to dinner with all of us. So the Raincoats and everybody went out and stuff. And then we started to just practice together and do her songs. And that was just really, it was funny to be in a rehearsal space with her actually singing, because it was like standing next to somebody playing a saxophone or something. It was really, she's really there. And she was just, and so we did years of stuff.
On record and live.
On record and live. We did a little Europe, and because she got the single off the first Matador record was really big in France.
Okay.
and that was just, it was really great to work with her.
All right.
Really
keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah. And this is just another picture. This is in Detroit. I know where this is. This is down by Cass Corridor at a place called, I can't remember. I want to say Uncle Joe's, but that's not right.
Right.
But anyway, this is a typical what a Cat Power tour would look like.
Sure.
In those days.
Yeah. And what rooftop are we on here?
This is down on Canal Street. It's for the video Oh No Soul.
Okay, not on Murray Street.
No.
Okay,
no, not on Murray Street. And this is
the band Male Sluts.
Yes, Male Slut or Psychic Hearts, it was sometimes called. But it was for the album Psychic Hearts, which we recorded. And we had this was a really, really fun band to be in. The songs were great.
And for the young people out there, that's Thurston Moore, famously of Sonic Youth.
Yeah. And so he had these tunes that he wanted to do in a sort of more controlled way. A lot of it, a great deal of it, I was just doubling him in a sleazier fashion.
Okay.
And but it was great fun to do. It was just great music to play. It was really, really fun, and we did crazy tours, and I think there's some pictures from those. But
And the resultant album is beloved.
I love
You
that
know,
record. I like that record. Just as a fan, I like that record.
But
yeah,
in his solo discography, that's sort of a...
features well.
I would say so.
Oh, that's good. I like that because I think it's a good record. The best story, or well, there were many, but we opened once for the Black Crowes under a different name.
Okay.
You know, they had this like fake name, and so they were playing it.
Okay, well, the Black Crowes had a different name.
Yes, they
Okay.
had a fake name.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, and we were Mail Slut, and we come out there, and we roll up to the venue, and they're dudes lined up around the block with like beer balls and pizzas and beards and flannel, and I'm just like, this is not going to go well. And we hit the stage, and Thurston was just funnier than I'd ever seen him. He's singing. Just get those old records off the shelf. You know, he comes out doing crazy shit, talking about putting acid in Chris Robinson's eye and just talking nonsense.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like, and they're smoking. He lights a joint. Okay, I'm going to pass this around. I want to go all the way around. Come back here. I want the last toke. You know, just crazy, out of character, nut stuff. And we start playing, and some of the songs were kind of catchy, and they're rocking, and they're going, Mail Slut.
Right, yeah.
And it's this, you know, and we got them going. It's just like,
Now,
what?
did
This is so
people
weird.
know that it was a Black Crowes shit? Like,
Yes, oh yeah, definitely. It was like the
Like
secret,
maybe the-
secret Black Crowes show. Yes,
but
and
the fan club knew.
yes,
or
yeah, and the name is like the Black Aces or something like that. You know, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
remember what it was. And their gear is all covered in tie-dye sheets and stuff. It was just so bizarre.
Yeah.
And anyway, we do this song called we do some spacier. He did some sort of composery stuff, and that goes over okay, you know.
Okay.
That's good. And they were like, yeah. And then we do the song he had called Super Christ, which I was forbidden to ever really learn how to play. and it's really clunky, and it's like, oh, and it's a great song, but it's like, and really kind of pretty. But by the end of the song, they're chanting in unison, "You suck," and shit is just hitting the stage like full beers. All this ice, we're just getting rained upon by just so much booing, and so it was so much fun.
So Thurston had the crowd
Totally had them.
and then decided he doesn't want the crowd.
Just like, it was so great. And then we lit out of there, like we really kind of like ran out, and we headed over to the cooler and played another show. It was really fun.
Fantastic.
That was a really good-
fantastic.
That was a good show.
And I think that was a worthwhile amount of time on that photo.
Okay.
All right, now
This is that
what
band-
other surprise people do we have in this
We have
photo?
Lee
Lee Ronaldo.
And that's Michael Moore from Dead Sea, and Steve and Thurston and me. And we were on this tour for Table of the Elements and going down to Atlanta to play. And it was, you know, playing with bands like Faust and all these crazy art. So we were like
Yeah.
the pop band.
Right.
And that was really interesting. And that was really fun. It was really fun. And there's so many stories of that tour, but I think probably don't have time.
No, we can go long, but it
Okay,
just, you know,
yeah.
people only.
But we had Heino Kaiji with us also.
Much like that secret Black Crowes gig, the audience can only take so much.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And not that any of it makes any sense. Yeah. So yeah, because we're about at the tipping point, I think, where we start getting texts going, "Use."
All right, let's.
This is a Japanese tour with Free Kitten. It was called Mosquito sometimes, but Heino and Jad, of course. And so Mosquito was a band that I played with at the Lollapalooza. And we did a bunch of bands. James McNew was on some of the records.
Sure. As a result of that, you're mentioned in Tom Beaujour's
That's right.
Lollapalooza
And I got a
book.
picture. But I think that was the picture. I think is because I know him.
Yeah.
I think.
But that was mentioned right here on the
Yes,
Hoboken
it was.
Talks.
And but this was this was just a really, I got to go to Japan, and it was just weird. It was just really weird. And the mosquito stuff, I really enjoy listening to that stuff nowadays. It was really weird. It was very improvisational, but sort of standard. We'd sort of make up songs on the spot, but they were kind of more traditional type songs. So, and we did quite a few records with that band.
Okay.
This is a non sequitur of a picture, but this is a photograph, one of two photographs that Townes Van Zandt gave me on New Year's Eve because he wanted to give me something.
Yeah.
And we'd been in Memphis recording with him, and this had started a year before when we were in Memphis, I think, recording one of my records maybe. And Steve had the ear of Geffen. So he had put up this idea of doing a greatest hits of Townes, and then this new record that we would $2 Guitar would back him up on it. And we did some shows with him where we would open for him, and then we would come out and do like White Freightliner or something with him. And this New Year's Eve, we were in the studio, and he showed up in really bad shape, like his hip had been all messed up, and he was just not in good condition, and we couldn't get through songs, and it was all troubling. And it had been this whole arc of meeting. The first time we met him, he had come down to Memphis, and it ended up at the night like I'm meeting my hero totally, and by the end of the night, we're playing poker, and I'm drunk, and I'm telling him not to touch my money, and it's just like, and it just was nuts, and we found out he didn't usually travel without somebody going with him and stuff, and he was just out and about, and but anyway, this night, and so we pretty much decided we weren't going to be able to finish this record. Like it wasn't going to work out this time.
Right.
Like we'd have to stop because he was in bad shape, and the truth was he did need to go to the hospital because he'd actually broken his hip, as it turns out. But the thing is the short story is the next day he died.
Wow.
And so he made it home. He made it home to Nashville, and complications from having broken his hip. So he must have been in so much pain. He was sitting in a chair, trying to do these songs and stuff, and it wasn't working. And but he, he made it home, and then there was like a blood clot or something, and he was something else.
And if anyone out there, the documentary, of his life and is excellent.
The Margaret Brown one?
Oh.
Yeah. There's Heartworn Highways that he features in too that is very good. But I think you're probably talking about the Margaret Brown one.
Which the title of it.
Am I in it? Am I in it?
It's all about you.
Yeah, it's all about me. But there's one that I appear in briefly, but that was a pretty good one, yeah. And I saw a lot of footage that she didn't use, which was very interesting, but it was a little too sad to use.
Do you have access to those recordings? Do you ever?
No, there was some spoken word stuff that he did at that session that ended up coming out somewhere.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a treasured. Did he take this photograph?
No, it was friends. It was a friend's car.
Okay,
and there's another picture of the same car, and it was just a friend. He just we went to say, because we knew he was leaving in the morning.
Yeah.
And the guy that traveled with him, H, had said, I'm taking him to the hospital tomorrow. He was very afraid of going to the hospital. He'd do anything to stay out of the hospital, and so for obvious reasons. And but he. Yeah, so we knew we weren't going to see him again for a while.
All right, that's wild. That's wild.
That's wild.
And sad, but
it's sad, but it was great to know him, and he was, he drank a lot, and he seemed much older than he was. But there were times, like on the little tour, where he would hit these windows of being young again, and this young, handsome guy, easy going. It was real weird. It was very, very, very odd.
There still should be like a major label compilation, You know, I think I have one from England, but
Yeah.
it deserves,
Yeah.
you know. Hey, Steve Earle, get on that.
And you know, Steve was really, you know, Steve would bring him wood and stuff. You know, like they were neighbors.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
This is Christina Rosenvinge, and we'd done a package tour. We used to do, this would happen around Smells Like a lot, and Steve liked to do it because everybody got to play more, but we'd do several bands, and you'd sort of keep the back line. So it was like those old reviews. And this is on a tour with Christina, and it was Chris Lee. I don't know if you remember him, but Jeremy Wilms, who shows up later,
Right.
John Wolfington. So there were three or four bands that we'd back each other up and go through Europe. And shortly into this, Jeremy closed her fingers in the van door, and she does fairly elaborate guitar playing, and so those are bandaged up.
I was wondering, I'm sitting, I'm like, we don't have time. I'm not going to ask about the fingers. We got to keep going. But I was very curious about the fingers.
And she was so, she's tough as nails, and I don't think Jeremy ever got over it, but she did.
Yeah,
really quickly. Yeah. But that was a great tour.
And a great photo there as well.
Yeah.
All right, we keep going.
She's very talented. I didn't know I left this in. So there was a version with Chris Brokaw. It looks in this photo like these two guys are sick of me at this point. But this is in Italy, and we did this great tour of Italy. I did another one later with just Chris, but this was a really so there was a period where Chris was playing with us quite a lot, and he would open and do a solo thing, and then play with us.
Sure.
And that's about all. Yeah, it's another version of $2 Guitar. The last, the last version.
Here are a bunch of albums that you are on or made.
Yeah.
Wow, you know, spanning the years.
Yeah.
90s
to 2000, whatever.
Well, the one in the bottom right is pretty recent.
Yeah. And there's, I did a couple records with Alexa Wilding. One mixed by Fred Smith from Television, who mixed the Wear and Tear of Fear up there of mine. And that's a whole guitar bar connection that.
Sure, as is Megan Riley, and love those records.
Yeah. And Christina Rosenvinge, and both Christina's, those are really fun. The Foreign Lands one and Alexa's Coral Dust. It's these people that can really sing they're quite accomplished already, and then they get kind of proggy for those two records, and those were really fun. Those are really kind of arty records and kind of beautiful.
If people want, some of these are actually in print and obtainable.
Some of these are actually in print. Some of them are on Kiam.
Through our friend Jennifer O'Connor.
Yep, and some of them are on Smells Like Still. I think they're still in print or still exist. The Train Songs one is a little hard to get, I think.
So if people type your name into Bandcamp,
yes,
some things will show up.
Definitely. I've got some stuff up there. And these three records that I did with Tom Beaujour.
For certain, yeah.
Yeah, the fucking love songs and the I Dreamed a Dream and songs for the Age of Extinction. That's sort of the three that I did under my own name.
All right, we keep going.
This is God.
Now this was discussed in the Tom Beaujour episode, right. But you guys end up on the television program Orange is the New Black.
Yes.
And
Lyle's fault. Another guest.
Yes.
You can all blame Lyle. Yeah, and it was fun, and I wish I would have taken more pictures, and been more of a, but it was sort of like I was just sort of freaked out the whole time.
But this is from TV. I mean, that's great, and a show that a lot of people watched, and you co-wrote and
the songs,
performed on the action. Yeah, that's great.
And the greatest,
and the Side Boob is the name of the band within the show.
Yes, and and I sing one, and he sing. There's there's different things going on. The best experience of this is when somebody now, for instance, sees it and comes up to me and goes like, what the,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what doesn't work so well is like, oh, I was in this TV show, you should check it out, and then they go look, and it's just what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
A little bit of a come down, so
right,
it's much better
right.
as a surprise.
And do you get a little check from
There's
this
still
air?
still some little. There was quite a bit to begin with, but not like crazy money at all. But there was it was really nice, and there's still, but it's still showing up in weird places.
Yeah. And wait, do you get? Because just acting on the show, you'd get something, but making the music, there's probably even
Right,
a
that's
little
all the
bonus payment.
BMI stuff.
I think
It's
that's
just-
fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's
And
really
the guy in the middle is an actor.
Yes, yes, and he was really fun to work with
Yeah.
in the studio because he really, he's like, I really can't sing,
Yeah.
and he really couldn't, and he was so cool about it, and he was so, and I will say, I think that I had a moment of actual acting with him,
Okay.
because most of the time I was just petrified.
And I brightened this photo. That
Oh,
was
good.
my contribution
Good.
to this slideshow. Rand is dying in the background. And here is a show of more recent vintage.
Yeah, this is at Dreamaway Lodge in the Berkshires, and that's Brian Cantor back there. You can't really see him, but he's
You,
rumbling.
you see enough there.
Yeah.
You see that handsome face.
And it's Jeremy Wilms, who is both those guys are just great.
Who you
musicians.
promised you'd mention again, and
Yes,
you did.
Yeah, and he did the arrangements on the last record, and he's doing all kinds of things.
And
he
of
moved
course,
back to the area.
Tom Beaujour.
And Tom Beaujour playing blazing guitar. And the thing that Tom's like, he does a great job on mixing these records and all this stuff. Like, he's really turned into this really, really great mixer. He's
Sure,
always good,
sure.
but it's kind of ridiculous now. And but the thing people don't generally know when they go in to make a record with him is he's a really good guitar player. So
He loves the guitar.
yeah.
Let's go to the two shot again.
Here we are.
At some point in all those travels, you mentioned you gave a little foreshadowing. You said you were painting.
Yes.
When did you first say, "Hey, I enjoy this, but also I feel like I'm good enough to actually take oil paint and do a"?
Actually, I'm still using acrylics.
Okay.
But
Okay.
people think they're oils, which I like.
Interesting. Okay.
But the
But did it start as a kid?
Yeah,
You know, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so always.
I was always drawing, and I was
Yeah.
always, and so, 7th grade, the art room was my hideaway, safe place, and all through high school, and when we lived in Chicago, I painted quite a bit there because I had space. All along, and on and off, since the 90s, there are periods of not painting very much, but
Okay.
it starts up. And so
But I became aware of it when at the Guitar Bar they hosted a art show of you,
oh,
Steve Wynn
right,
of the Dream Syndicate,
Yes.
and wait, there was someone
Richard Lloyd.
and Richard Lloyd of television. And I didn't know any of you guys painted,
yeah.
and this was professional
Yeah,
art.
yeah, yeah. I like painting. I just don't get to do it enough. But the Guitar Bar was such a trip. It really is. It's its own universe that we could talk about.
And you were
I was there for 20 years. 20 years, Jack.
20 years.
20 years. I would quit sometimes and go do something, like go back to carpentry and try to make some money and stuff. But I ended up back there. It took me 20 years to get any good at it, I think.
But we've touched on this of the goodness of Jim Mastro
Yeah.
to hire,
A lurker.
but not just you,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All
But-
these people.
itinerant musicians
Well-
who need to go away for weeks at a time.
Oh, right, yeah, oh,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah. No, that wasn't a problem. It was when they wanted to be there all the time, probably was the problem. But that place was, before I ever worked there, Dave and Steve and I went in to get Dave. We wanted to get a B15 bass amp because everybody was tired of lugging around a SVT, and they had like 3 of them there or something. It was a funny store then. There wasn't a lot of stuff in there.
Right,
And
right. And
we
for
walked in-
people, you can watch that episode and how he originally stocked the store is covered in
Yes.
that edition of Hoboken Talks.
And we go in there and we're looking at these flip top. They're really cool amps if you ever want to check one out. But we were checking these things out, and this guy walks out from the back, and it's Fred Smith from television.
Of course it
And
is.
I lost it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not
Yeah.
usually squeamish about meeting people, but I had to leave. Because I'd stared at the cover of Adventure for just like, who are these people? Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
And it really freaked me out. And then later, probably not that long after, I was in there again, and this guy pokes his head out from the back room with a pliers and a guitar and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and glasses, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking Ivan Julian.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was
from
like this can't be.
Richard Hell and the Void
This
Doors.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then I think I'm going crazy. But so these were the kind of people that were almost too intense. But then I ended up working with them, and it's really great. It's really great. Fred taught me how to do setups and fix guitars and stuff, and
And you did a
regular guys.
little bit of everything there.
Yeah,
Did you teach?
No, I
lessons?
tried to teach a
Okay.
couple times. I did not have the temperament for that.
Okay.
I think-
That's all right.
I think
okay.
I think that's
That's all right. Can't do everything.
But
You're a multi-hyphenate, but you can't do
Yeah.
everything.
But
That's
I
okay.
met a great cast of characters there, like legends, all those guys.
All right. Now you, a humble man, only put one of your paintings into the slideshow, but I added 2 more just to be, you really know what you're doing with
Okay.
this. So let's take a look. I think it's the next one. Now,
Self-portrait of me as John the Baptist. This is from the collection of Suzanne Sasek, who used to work at Pure Platters. once upon a
Okay.
time, and is famous in her own right. But this is by kind permission of.
and then I put in this,
This is
caught
a weird
my
one.
eye. Yeah.
This is in the collection of Thatcher Keats, who took the lovely picture at the Dream Away, that band picture.
Okay.
He's a professional photographer. And so this one, I haven't seen this one in a while. Wow. It's interesting
hidden on your website.
The ones that you how'd you break in there?
I typed Tim
Paintings.
Foljan paintings.
Yep, you're very clever.
Cracked the code.
You're very clever.
It's actually timfoljan.com/paintings.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. And then one more that caught my eye. There were others that caught my eye, but I thought if kids were watching, a little.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And but this, I think that I'll work on the diagnosis from the paintings that you chose.
right. Okay. All this, musician touring the world, repeat. In the 90s, you were just going everywhere, playing with everyone.
Yeah. I didn't even talk about playing with the boredoms, which is important, but that's okay.
We might have to invite you back.
No.
But at some point, and I'd like to know at what point, but you're like, I'd like to switch gears a little more, and it's not completely a left turn or whatever, but psychoanalysis.
Yeah. I had sort of hit I was working at Guitar Bar, I think, still, and and that was great there. We worked it out, and Jim was great, and it was a pretty good vibe for me by that time. It used to be really frustrating because you have to deal with people, and but I'd gotten pretty good at that,
Especially people from Michigan.
yes, and I started going to therapy at this place that was sliding scale
Sure.
on 10th Street, which
Okay.
I'd heard about, and easy access from the path, and I was thinking I needed to do something different. I couldn't work at Guitar Bar forever, and but I'm laying there on the couch, and I'd been noticing, and I noticed because I was in pretty rough shape when I started, and I mean there's a reason you roll into therapy, and but things had changed, and I didn't understand at all how or why. Like
Yeah.
it was just weird, and but I'm laying there wondering what I should do, staring at the ceiling. And then, of course, on the other side of that ceiling is an institute where you can train to be a psychoanalyst. And so I got this, because this thing is attached to that.
Right.
And so, I don't know, the idea got in my head, and then I mentioned it to some very good friends, and that doesn't sound crazy, and there's a way you can make that happen. There's ways to do these things.
Yeah.
And so I just started, and I really enjoy it.
You didn't just start. You went through the program.
Yeah.
You graduated. You started your own.
Got a license. Got a office on Fifth Avenue, which sounds fancier than that. And but yeah, and I see people, and it's working. It took a while to get people, and to get make enough money to where it's working, and it's starting to do that, and I like going to work, which
Right.
who
Can I add, how approximately how many hours a week are you doing that? You're also the editor of a journal. How did that happen?
Well, that's the editor before me gets to appoint the next one.
Right.
And he thought, he had asked me about it long ago, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. And then it was just sort of then like, so you still good with this?
Right.
And I was kind of shocked. But it turns out it's something I really enjoy. So but he just sort of decided it would be me. And it's great. If I read something really interesting, I get to write to that person and say, like, would you consider, or do you have anything for the journal?
Yeah,
and they write
yeah.
back.
It's
really weird.
Wait, I jumped into. I didn't is this a full-time thing now?
Right now, it's about there's the journal stuff, and I'm going to be TAing this fall and stuff. But right now,
where does that happen?
That happens at the same institute on 10th Street.
Okay.
CMPS, Center for Modern Psychoanalysis. But the sliding scale thing, the referral service is worthwhile if you want to start in. Get your foot in the door to therapy.
I guess the question is, do you still see yourself as musician Tim Foljan, therapist Tim Foljan, man about town Tim Foljan?
It's a really, I mean, right now I'm all into the psychoanalysis, so I'm sort of really invested in that, and it feels creative, and I get to, it checks a lot of the boxes, but I definitely am thinking I want to do a little more with music than just get my guitar down and play Leonard Cohen songs, or I want to do a little more with painting, and but there's it's sort of building time in for that stuff.
Yeah, but it's all beautifully tied together, the creativity and the mind and moods, and
it feels a lot like a lot of the same stuff in a way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Here is, if someone finds their way to Fifth Avenue.
Yes, corner of 5th and 14th.
Is it okay if someone just buzzes your thing, or they should call first?
They could call first, yeah.
Okay. And there's your card.
Yep, there's my card.
Which, seriously, if someone watching is like, oh, that sounds like
That
a
guy
sort of
seems
guy I
like
could talk to.
Yeah, totally.
They could contact you.
Yep, we could figure it out. Work something out.
All right, we went 15 minutes too long, but that's okay because I know we only scratched the surface, but hopefully gave people sort of a.
I think we did all right.
I think so. We covered an awful lot of
we
ground.
did. We tried to do a lot.
But thank you so much.
Well, thanks for asking me. I think it's really funny. It's funny to, like, I just had a birthday and then thinking about all this. It's ridiculous.
But and I start to feel kind of corny at the end of these. But you were just yet another example of what makes Hoboken such a weird, special place. And even though it was really great then, or what, but you've been quietly working away and doing all this awesome stuff based
and Hoboken
here.
is good for me. When I first got here, I thought like, well, this is a landing spot and I will get a place in the city, and then never did, of course, and then really didn't want to. Fairly quickly, there were so many benefits of being here rather than certainly, Brooklyn or Manhattan. I just was like, it's been very good. Hoboken has been very, very good to me.
Well, to me too, and to meet you and many of the characters you've mentioned has enriched my life. So much.
You
so
too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our guest has been the great, the multi-hyphenate Tim FOLJAHN. And you can find him. Google him, you'll find him. And Hoboken Talks, coming up. The next one, we actually don't know who it was, who's going to be, but it's going to be somebody great. Or should how I'll phrase it? We're working on a really special thing. We just have to dot the I's and cross the T's. But after that, this is a great get. Former Mayor Dave Roberts, the guy who started Cultural Affairs Department here in town, and his daughter Amanda, which they named the restaurant Amanda's after, couldn't be more of a sweetheart. So I'm jealous about that one. I will be watching that one.
He will be interviewed by his son, Chris.
Wow, that's going to be good.
I'm sure he's a good guy too. And also at Leo's Rendezvous the other day, I was had a nice chat with Amanda's husband's uncle, who just retired 39 years in the attorney business. Thank you, New Jersey Historical Commission, for supporting this broadcast. Shipyard Circle are the big donors to the museum, and you can see their names here. But what I am saying to you is, if your name isn't on this list, it is okay. If you are a member of the museum, that helps us a lot. If you come in and put some bucks in the little box to see the exhibits, that helps a lot. If you just on social media follow us and like the stuff and share things that are interesting with your friends, that helps a lot. So thanks to everybody. Iron State. Dun dun. They're the landlords here, to put it simply, and it's a really good deal, the rent. So thank you, Iron State. Tim, you're a fine artist.
Yes.
Can you give a quick your impressions?
This stuff is beautiful, I think.
It's art by Eugene. His name is Eugene Gleason, and I was just this over the weekend. I came and took a look at these paintings. They are really, really beautiful.
Yeah, they're more intense in real life than they are in the pictures that you see here.
There's especially one of the Hess station up on 14th on a snowy night. It's beautiful, and I'm sure I can't afford it, but
the light situation going on in them live is pretty wild.
So that's till September 21st. You have plenty of time to come and see that exhibit up here. Ongoing, but we're in the home stretch. The main exhibit, the Hoboken Meadows, and when you're on your corner and there's been a heavy rain and there's a rain on the corner and you're like, why is that? Well, come see the Hoboken Meadows and you'll get a sense of how this town, where it was built, and sort of a precarious position in regards to where water is.
Yeah, you really should see that. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
A lot of amazing pictures.
And that till the end of this calendar year, you can see that exhibit. Like I said, it just helps us a lot on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. We have to get Rand a lozenge. He's barely going to make it to the end of this episode. But comment, like, share, subscribe, just those things. If you can't give a dollar because you're having a rough time, just this stuff helps. I promise you. For Hoboken Talks, I have been Jack Silbert. I continue to be. Rand Hoppy was our director. Our guest, Tim FOLJAHN. Watch it again on YouTube and keep supporting the Hoboken Historical Museum.